In this demo, I'm going to show you the concept of API products in Apigee. The objective of API product is to provide an abstractions between the detailed implementations of API proxy, which previously we have created in the previous demo, for the consumption experience so that different type of API consumer will be able to access it. So here is the picture for the for illustrations. Imagine that I've got a retail product proxy already, which have associated API key policy, quota policy, and so on. We can then group one or more proxy into a consumption unit. Over here, I've got two product. One is called the retail API product bronze. I can also associate 20 requests per minute, and also create another one called retail product a goal, which has much higher quota, let's say 1,000 requests per every 1 minute. Now, and then I'm going to assign or let the respective API consumer or API developer to associate or subscribe to the respective product. Let's say I've got a developer which is coming from this company called Partner One. I'll encourage them or I'll allow them to consume the silver tier of this product, while the FazioRetailExample.com developer, when they create an app, they will be accessing the gold products. And the way they access the product is by a form of identifications, typically based on the API key. Later on, I'm going to show you the demo how you can control the access of API key, the expiry, and so on. So let's switch to the console. So just take a step back. This was the API product which we created in the previous demo. As you can see that API clients, as arrow goes in, you notice that I've got a few different proxy policy, or one of them is to verify an API key. This is to ensure that the key that is verified, either that is passed in by the consumer, either via header or query parameters, it's valid. And then I have also another policy called quota enforced policy. This is associated to the number of API call that I illustrated here, whether it's 20 for 1 minute or 5,000 for 1 day, and so on. So on. That is where I want to enforce over here. So to create an API products, what I need to do is click on the API products menu between the within the distributions section, and you can see that I've got already a list of existing API products. I can definitely create one and fill in all the details informations, including the API product name, the display name, and you can also see that the associated environment, and importantly is number of API quota for every interval that you want to define. This is where you enter whether it's a 500 per every 1 minute, day, year, and so on and so forth. And then you want to also add the operation, which is the API proxy, just now into it. Now, I'm going to show you the existing two products which I've created already. One of them is this, I call it a retail API product bronze. And it has been already assigned 20 requests for every 1 minute, and the list of API proxy and associated path. And then I also have another API product. This one, it's a little bit more generous because this one, it's given 1,000 requests for every 1 minute, right? But basically, the remaining of that is quite similar to the previous one. Now, once we created the product, which is illustrated into this different diagram, we then will have developer who will need to create what they call an app, right? So this app, it's the entity within Apigee that hold a key as well as the subscriptions of the particular API products. To create an app, I just need to go to the app section, again, also within the distribution section, and I will have to click create. Now you do need to ensure that the app creation is associated to one of the developer over here, a list of developer that you have already registered within your Apigee organization. And importantly is you need to create a credential, and you define whether the credential will never expire, which is not a very good practice, or you can say that this credential will be valid for, let's say, 90 days. right? And then you associate the API products. And that's the, let's say, go with the bronze product that just now we choose, let's say this one, right? So once we have this product created, we click create. What eventually you will be getting, it's a page that looks like this, right? So I've got already apps that created associate to the bronze product. Remember, bronze product is the 20, 20, 20 requests per minute, and then the respective gold product is created with the apps called Partner One Commerce, and this one will have a different key, and that subscribe to the um, gold product. All right. So let's go to test it out. If I were to go to my Postman client, and if I were to make a call to my host name without any key, I will be getting a 401 error. All right. Now, if I were to choose the API key, which is based on the free retail app, so one of the key that I have chosen here, that's a key, right? I'm expecting to get a successful OK, right? This is with the bronze key, so-called the bronze, the app which subscribe to the bonds. And remember, I've got the entitlement of around 20 requests for every 1 minute. But then remember, I also have another key that is associated to the gold one. So why don't we start to do some multiple requests? So I'm going to create a runner feature in Postman. I'm going to use this bronze key and make 30 iteration and start to perform a run. Now you will notice that in the first 20-ish, I am expecting a successful request, but the moment it hits around 21 iteration, right, I'm getting a 429 error, which is exactly um, aligned with the 20 requests per every 1 minute. Okay, now if I were to make another run with the 50 iteration, however, now is with the so-called gold key, which is, remember, the gold key is entitled to hit 1,000 requests for every 1 minute. If I were to perform that run, of course, I'm not going to choose 1,000 requests for now, but then it just to show you the illustration that I can go more than 20 requests, and then I'm getting all successful 200 OK up to the 50 requests because it is still within the quota that I assigned. Hopefully, these illustrations of API products, apps, and developer helps. Thank you.